And I am sharing screen, if I can find it. There we go. Let me know when you guys see that as well.
You got it.
Got it.
And I apologize for the small text. I'm going to, the font that I use is not embedded in my home computer. So let me just enlarge this. Oops. It would help if I did it in the right place. There we go. Let's make that. Is that better? You guys read that okay?
Yes.
Just to follow along.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I was saying, but I know a couple people just came in, so the goal here tonight is just to very briefly pause on each subsection in each section, if in case anybody has anything to call out that they've noticed. And in this case, it's okay to call out typos, factual errors, omissions of anything that we have previously talked about that I didn't catch, but not introducing any new topics because I'm flat out of time. And then after each section, the really important piece is to look at the suggested action steps. Look at the suggestion action steps, confirm that they are what we want to put in there, and then prioritize them in as far as we can, you know, high, medium, lowest priority, although none of them are truly low priority because we're suggesting them. And then I'm going to put them into a matrix and a master table at the end of the document. Okay, so section 7, housing is first. 7.1, general overview. For whatever it's worth, I did go through and correct the discrepancies between the 2018 and 2020 Partnership for Strong Communities data points. Some of them were the same data sets, but with new information from 2020, and there were some categories that they didn't carry over from 2018. So I do refer to both in here, but if that was a question, I've already resolved that. Other than that, anybody have anything on general overview for housing they want to shout out? Okay. Affordable housing, same thing. Anything anybody want to call out that struck them as missing from when we discussed it or wrong? Okay. Housing density, same thing. Anybody have anything they need to add, subtract, call out as questionable? Okay, here we go. Let's get right into it. Suggested action steps. So these I will read out for everyone's benefit. And these are in no particular order right now. Retain a qualified consultant to assist in the development of a comprehensive affordable housing plan according to DOH guidelines. Within the affordable housing plan, specifically address the needs of senior citizens and planning for future development. Publish a guidebook for property owners in the downtown Mill Rehabilitation District to provide information on how to take advantage of the rehabilitation area tax incentives. Explore and pursue designation of one or more incentive housing zones or neighborhood revitalization zones. Compile an inventory of buildable vacant parcels with frequent updates for use by the town and by real estate professionals in soliciting appropriate developers for missing middle housing or larger multifamily developments, particularly in districts served by public utilities. Work with local banks or real estate agencies to host classes for first-time home buyers or for local residents interested in purchasing or building small multifamily dwellings in the downtown Mill Rehabilitation District. And budget for advertising that markets Thompson as a community of opportunity for disaffected urban residents of Worcester, Providence, Boston, and Hartford. All right, So let's start with, what do we see in here that is particularly high priority? I will myself call out these top two because I've got an open grant for that process. So that's going to be first 6 months of 2021. What else we got here? Yes.
It's Joanne. Can you hear me?
Hi, Joanne. Yep.
Yep.
I would say that publishing the guidebook for property owners in the downtown Mill District is a priority, as well as the need for senior citizens for planning the development of future development.
Yep.
I would put those at the top.
Okay.
I agree strongly with the point about the guidebook, and I think you touched on that with one of the other points, that looking for some money to get some facts together further down the list. But right now, I'll have to just agree with what I just heard.
Okay. What are other people's thoughts here? Oh, go ahead, Joanne.
Just one more point as far as designation of priority. The compiled inventory of buildable vacant parcels, that seems like a waste of time. I mean, that's such a fluid thing. It changes from 1 week to the next week. Who's going to keep track of every vacant lot in Thompson? I mean, right now there's probably, I don't know, 5 or 10, and they can change in a heartbeat. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to have a current inventory of properties for sale.
I guess I'm thinking more, Joanne, and maybe this helps clarify it, maybe it doesn't, you tell me. I guess I'm thinking more of parcels that would be suitable for multifamily development or subdivision.
Totally
like,
different.
Because those don't move as fast.
Right. Well, then you have to just change, when you're saying buildable vacant parcels, to me, that's a buildable house lot. So
yeah,
I think probably you would have to identify the vacant parcel as for use of multifamily or commercial use, and not make it seem like it's just lots for single-family homes.
Right. Yeah. So that needs clarification regardless.
Yeah. And as far as working with local banks, one of the last things too, CHFA, when you get a CHFA mortgage, you have to take classes anyway, so I don't know why the local town would get involved in giving first-time home buyers classes in real estate. I just don't see the connection there. Banks don't certainly get too involved unless they want to give the mortgage, but
yeah, and again, I guess I'm thinking more on people who want to be small-scale developers or landlords. What brought it to mind is I actually have a friend up in the Worcester area who does things just like that. He hosts classes for prospective home buyers who've never done it before, who want that information, but also for people who want to be live-in landlords, or maybe have 2 or 3 small properties. In other words, small-scale real estate investment or development, as a means of generating personal income. So I think that's more where my head was, but if that's unclear, obviously that needs to be clarified at the very least.
I mean, there's not a lot of there's multifamily homes in Thompson, but not a whole lot. I've been specifically looking for someone in the Thompson area. So, there's 2 or 3, and then they come on the market and they're gone in a week. So I don't know that we really need to promote home buyers to buy multifamily homes, that maybe to build them, as opposed to owning them. But again, building them, we only have certain areas where we can do that too, and that's in our new zoning regulations, correct? Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay. So clarify if they're going to be kept and make those a lower priority on the list. Sound fair?
Talking to me or everybody?
Well, everybody, but you.
Right. Well, I mean, I like the guidebook for property owners, and that's the one that Charlie doesn't think should be first. Charlie, I kind of
No, he
No,
also,
no,
Charlie thought it should be
I-
high up there.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
But I
Okay.
think that the same topic is addressed a little bit further down. Making it crystal clear that we're talking about multifamily and lower income housing. I don't think we need much clarification. It's in pretty good shape.
No, we don't.
Properties
We don't.
properties that we have that might be developed and helping people to be able to put their ducks in a row in a hurry. That makes sense. But that's basically what I heard you say about, well, taxes, yes, okay. Well, what else? What else can make this thing happen quicker?
Can I just interrupt you 1 second, Charlie, and not to pick on you, but because you just used a phrase that is a particular pet peeve of mine. We are never talking about low income housing, meaning housing that is segregated by income level. We are talking about it universally when we're, and I only call, and this is not to pick on you at all, but a few people use this term around meetings where we start to talk about these issues. And the mental image of what people refer to as low-income housing is not what we are after. It is that the affordable housing, which is mixed income levels, scaled to the median income, that we are specifically talking about. And also missing middle housing, which can be lowercase a affordable, meaning more types and more diversity within the housing stock, but is not capital A designated affordable. So again, because I know you can take it, Charlie, I had to bust in there.
I really want to thank you, and I'm glad it was recorded because I've never heard it said so well. And you're correct. You're correct. It just was a misspoken phrase from my 50 plus years of community service. But,
yeah, and it often is. And there certainly was a time when that was what people were building. And those were almost universally disastrous projects. I mean, they called them the projects. They tore most of them down because they were horrible.
In Providence, they tried to blast one and it wouldn't fall over. It was at Olneyville. Oh, it was funny. But they used dynamite to try to blast it and it wouldn't go.
Well, anyway, we digress. So based on the first 3 bullet points here, probably rising to the top, and any kind of inclusion about the inventory of buildable lots, specific to what we're talking about, and any possible development of classes or information for prospective home buyers or small-scale real estate developers would probably be on the bottom. So that leaves us with these mid-levels, right? Do we agree that explore and pursue designation of 1 or more incentive housing zones or neighborhood revitalization zones, and budget for advertising that markets Thompson as a community of opportunity, that those would be sort of mid-level priorities, yes?
Sounds good.
Okay. Anybody have anything else they want to contribute on the section for housing before we move away from it? Content or action steps wise? Planning and zoning guys? John, Joe, Alvin?
I'm really happy with this. I think this has come together really well. I think I'm happy with, I think it's good for us.
John, you unmuted yourself. Do you have anything there, or you just wanted to have the opportunity?
No, I read it pretty well, thorough, and I agree with Joseph. I don't think we're gonna get any better than that, but I had one little small thing to myself was, about the central district, with the mill district and everything. That would
Yeah.
probably, in my opinion, there ain't many areas in that district where you would be able to do a building of a multifamily or whatever because of the lots the way they are. The only way it would be reaching out beyond that, like off of Buckley Hill Road there, Route 12, going out that way, would probably be the area where you would have to maybe get some interest in. But everything in downtown Main Street, Route 12, and going down to Route 200, everything, that's pretty saturated, except where Riverside Drive is. And the only other spot we could do something with is up where Frank Jakes' property, but some of that is wetlands too. So that would put a little damper on stuff like that of a multifamily or, senior
Sure.
city.
Well, that actually does bring up another question. I'm actually glad you kind of mentioned that. I name 3 parcels in the section on infill development in the very last section. So we're not actually talking about that section tonight, but maybe that is an answer or a place to move those 3 parcels as exemplars. And those are the 2 Peter Vangel properties and Frank Jakes properties. Again, because they've come before the commission before, they've had subdivision applications approved. They just happen to have expired, but the properties are still there. So maybe I should move that here.
I would, because I know Frank Jakes. He's, from what I understand, the property, I guess he's trying to put it up for sale or for whatever.
Yeah, it's up for sale again.
It is, okay. So that's a good area. But again, we have to be very careful with it because there's two situations. One, there's a little bit of wetlands, but it could be. That would be Marla Butts' area, but then that one little corner by the softball field, it can only be used for certain housing, but it couldn't be much because that area is considered, it used to be a dump there that the mill used to use way back in the day. So that would probably downsize that property a little bit, but on the other side towards Peter Vangel's property, that would be a good, area to really push if needed for multi-type family housing.
Okay. All right. I'll monkey around with that a little bit.
Like condos. I have heard that somebody is dividing up the former theater building on Main Street and putting multiple apartments in there.
Not impossible. I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, well, I heard it came up at water pollution control. But at any rate, that's right in the area, and we should make sure that they know what we're trying to do.
You're talking the theater right there just before you go around the corner before you hit the church.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna. Well, okay. I'll keep my opinion to myself on that one. That one's gonna be a toughie.
Well, it's a hypothetical anyway, so we'll.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's hypothetical, all right.
All right. Moving on to economic development. Yeah. Well, we're no more hearsay. No more hearsay. Economic development. EDC peeps. 8.1 overview. Any additions or not so much additions, edits to make, omissions that you might have noticed? Anything?
Didn't notice anything.
Okay.
You did a really
8.2
good job on
factors.
this, by the way.
Who was that?
That was me.
Is that Yacino?
Said you
when
did
I
a really
share
good
screen,
job on
sometimes.
this.
Oh, thank you. You're a little fuzzy. Factors affecting economic development. Any comments here? Economic Development Commission, roles, responsibilities, and advocacy. Are you guys, this is particularly significant for you guys. Are you happy with what we've described here?
I have one here, Kira. The first paragraph in 8.3, the very last words, it says 5-year terms, but we have 2-year terms.
Aha. I thought it was 5. Okay. There's a correction.
12 more years.
Anybody else,
like
particularly from the EDC? Yeah, no kidding. Particularly from EDC, have any edits or did notice any omissions here? Somebody's coming in. I can't see who I just admitted. When I share screen, my view gets all weird of the participants. Okay, 8.4, Economic Development Initiatives. So this is obviously where I start to describe the projects that we have ongoing. We want to be sure that these things say what we want them to say. So how are we feeling about these descriptors? Does anything need to be...
Go back up to the first sentence. Just one small addition, inclusion. The following projects undertaken, it should be by the Economic Development Commission.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
So you did really good. This stuff is minuscule. I like how you wrote it.
Well, thank you very much. I can tell you guys my funny story that I told Joe Perotti before. So you guys know John Guskowski, who used to have my position here in town and who works for CME, now CHA, who's been around a lot. So he's offered me a lot of outside of billable hours advice on this, because obviously I'm still new to the profession, and I sent it to him to look at over the weekend. I walked in to an email Monday morning that says to me, "Congratulations on writing the Moby Dick of plans of conservation and development." It made me laugh greatly, but I have a strange sense of humor. Okay, Cindy's coming in now. All right, so we're happy with the 11th Village, airline, state park trail, tourism map brochure, digital landing page. This is highlighted because I need to make sure that I actually do refer to it in section 11, which we should be talking about tonight. So that's a prompt for somebody else to remind me if we don't see it in that section. 65 Main, does this say what we want it to say about this important project?
Well, I have one comment. In the first paragraph, near the end, we talk about small business incubator focusing on agricultural and food system startups. I mean, do we have to specify? I mean, originally we were talking about startups. We didn't.
Well, it has definitely been presented that way now in multiple grant applications.
Okay.
I have to say that was always more or less my vision for the property. I don't think we have to completely narrow its focus. Let me make a note here to see if I can phrase that in a way that's a little more open-ended.
Yeah, I mean, if you need it that way for grants or whatever, that's why I'm.
I mean, of course, from a project description point of view, it's all such a beautiful little ecosystem. If you think about it in terms of each piece has this food security or agricultural element, and it is a small site. But maybe what I should include is a note that the programming will be flexible based on expressed community needs.
Yeah, because if we specify and then we don't have enough interest to fill it, where somebody might have wanted to start a little business.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's a good point, Brian.
Maybe what we want is food safety programming from cooperative extension that we could offer to the people in town so that they will know not only how to grow the vegetables, but how to preserve them. Food safety.
Well, that
already
would
have
be
that.
that would be incorporated in the concept already.
Right. We don't have to specify that, Charlie, because it's already implied.
Yeah. So what
I
Brian
thought we were
Yacino is
looking
saying
for
is that,
specificity.
well, sometimes we are, but what Brian is suggesting in his comment is that by naming it so specifically, we may be limiting the project's reach if, for example, we get the thing off the ground, but we don't have a first class of participants who has specific interest in those areas. So I'll monkey with that a little bit. I'm sure I can modify that to make it just a little broader. Okay. Adventure racing and cycling. How did we feel about this section?
I liked it. I didn't see anything that I would change.
Okay. Is this heat map clear enough to include? I think that's my main question.
That wasn't very clear to me.
No, it's not clear. And I sent that information out the first time I saw this draft. I don't know how that one wound up being there, but I can find a better one for you. And I'm making that a priority.
Okay. All right. I would be perfectly willing to swap out this map. You know, when I had asked Richard for it, or for something like it, you know, he was describing how these apps worked, and I went in and I opened an account and I tried to generate one, and I couldn't figure out how to make heads or tails of it. So he did this for me, which was very nice, but I just don't know that it communicates to a casual observer which of these routes are actually the hot routes and what that means in reality. So I'm going to have a mental question mark on this map.
What was that?
Part of what it means, though, is how is the town of Thompson making these opportunities more available? The Wyndham Land Trust property on Bull Hill, also another one that comes up along the east side of the Quinnebog River, of the Quinnebog River, from Brickyard Road. It goes up through the back. This idea of rugged mountain bike racing type of image should be what people start to think about in Thompson.
Are you talking from Brickyard Road and going up Fabian Road, going towards the main Route 12?
It goes from Brickyard Road up past the mountaintop and down to near town.
Bull Hill, you can tell them, hon.
Well, you're almost following Red Bridge Road, but you're on that side of the thing. Yeah, where the tower is, Mountain Hill Road.
Yes, Mountain Hill Road. And they're already doing virtual rides where you can have it on your smartphone and just go the route. And it goes those two spots that I just talked about, out of Woodstock over Bull Hill and down and up over this other road. Really not for the faint at heart. This is a good, serious bicycling route that only needs to have public safety signage put up and then it's ready to go. But that's part of the wayfinding program anyway.
Yeah. All right.
So-
Charlie, maybe offline, you and I can bat around a little bit, some way to context, because I think it's the context that's the problem. I've described it, but, I'm describing something that doesn't have a lot of context even to me.
Yeah,
And
I'm looking it up.
I increasingly think that it's just not that effective there. But I'd still like to include some kind of visualization rather than text description of what we're talking about, partly to break up the oceans of text with a white whale. And
Kira?
Yes.
Kira, this is Leslie. I made a note, but will you just also add in this section that I think that rec should reference this and like cross goals, so even if we're just listing it as a goal or an action step and then reference this section. So it's,
Yep.
Thank you.
Makes sense to me. Okay, I have that note there. All right, so let's look at the action steps. And unless anybody else has anything to add, edits, apparent omissions, that kind of thing on the text of the economic development section. Okay. So now we're going to look at action steps. And again, these ones I will read out, and then we'll go back and we'll assign them their relative value, high, medium, or lower. Oh, somebody's coming in. Okay, using the guidebook compiled by Sullivan and Lashane for the branding subcommittee, craft promotional campaign materials to be sent to chambers of commerce, commercial real estate brokers, and other relevant organizations, highlighting the advantages Thompson offers to businesses, promotion of the business-friendly elements and the zoning regulations must be a key component. Establish a habit. I'm going to change the word habit to a schedule of sending out press releases celebrating EDC projects, both large and small, utilizing the press contact list compiled for the Sullivan and Lashane branding report. Develop a matrix of potential incentives for businesses with clear guidelines for accessing them to be offered based on consistency with Thompson's identified priorities and published on the EDC website. Create a welcome package for new businesses. I'm going to change that, Brian Yacino, to update the incorporating the elements above, along with invitations to engage with EDC and the Thompson Business Association. Create promotional materials related to ongoing EDC initiatives, such as the 11th Village, Airline State Park Trail, connectivity projects, Future Business Incubator at 65 Main Street, etc. These should be designed to generate interest from the general public and invite participation where appropriate. Publish a 10-year plan for EDC projects on the Commission's page on the town website, including timelines and funding goals. Establish a revolving account for EDC for self-sustaining or revenue-generating projects, such as Thompson Garden by the River and the 11th Village rentals. Bring the 11th Village online by spring 2021 with a minimum of 3 permanent chalets to be supplemented by tent vendors. Program details will need to be established in conjunction with the Thompson Business Association, and I'm going to add rec there because we'll probably be hosting on that site. Provide support for efforts to increase tourism to Thompson via print and online marketing campaigns, networking with outdoor recreation-based businesses, and development of special events highlighting Thompson's tourism assets. Promote and pursue funding opportunities to launch the Small Business Center at 65 Main Street. We've got grant funds, private donations, and volunteer labor to complete the rehabilitation of the superintendent's house while developing the final programming. Enhance Thompson's appeal for trail racers and cyclists. Work with racing organizations such as KMC CrossFest and the Hartford Marathon to create a top-tier experience for racers passing through Thompson. Encourage local businesses along frequently traveled routes to invest in covered bike racks. Encourage local restaurants to plan menus with the needs of cyclists in mind, promoting them accordingly. Network with other economic development commissions throughout the region, sharing ideas and developing regional projects. Establish a regular schedule for updates to the EDC page on the website with frequent news features on the progress of the commission's projects, links to commercial real estate listings, and updates on the progress of high-profile projects such as mill site redevelopment. Initiate a formal campaign to support Thompson Business for Small Business Saturday. Okay, let's call out the high priority items first. What do we see?
One of the high priorities, since we're looking at spring, would be the 11th Village.
Yep, I think we all agree there.
And along with
that, the revolving account.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Along with that, we need the account.
Yeah. What else? What else do we want to undertake with some urgency? We've been talking about that matrix of business incentives for almost 2 years.
And I don't know if that's as urgent as some of the other ones, that's all. Because I'm also looking at what we can do, the big bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Where this one might take, I mean, we actually have to get it on the, get some focus on it, but it won't be instant either.
Okay.
Maybe promotional materials to go along with the village and the state airline trail.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing, that provides support and efforts to increase tourism. And then I was also looking at, yeah, I guess that's ongoing. Oh, I guess we're looking at two different ones, Brian. You're looking at create promotional materials for ongoing EDC initiatives. Yeah, I think that one, because these are ongoing, they're currently happening. So when people are asking about it, we want to have materials to share. So I think that's definitely a priority.
Okay, so for high priorities right now, I'm looking at create promotional materials related to ongoing EDC initiatives, establish a revolving account for EDC, bring the 11th Village online by spring 2021, provide support for efforts to increase tourism to Thompson. Anything else jump out as being in the top tier of priority?
Yeah, I think establish a habit of sending out press releases, and I would even put that above the provide support efforts. You know what I mean? Because that's, I mean, it's just the baseline of getting ready to establish your habit and your system of marketing, you know, and then doing the marketing.
Well, this is something, Leslie, that nobody, it doesn't matter what group I'm in, we never do a good enough job of highlighting the event after the fact.
Yeah, me too, Brian. I'm really guilty of that. You know, I take all these pictures and then I'm like, man, I didn't even post any of those. Like, you know, I do all this advertising of the event and then I don't highlight it afterwards. So yeah, I think, and a big thing too is that the habit of press releases is something that just multiple offices, the clerk, rec, trails, EDC, it's having a system of, okay, you know, this is who you send things to, this is when you send it, this is, you know, where you're sharing, the outlets that you're sharing on, and just establishing that routine and that best practice before we start to market things or, you know, I think is, yeah, important. But yeah, I agree with you, Brian. I'm guilty as well.
Yeah, we all are. We promote the ever-loving out of it, and then when it's over, we just sit back and relax from it.
I know, you know.
Well, for whatever it's worth from a promotional point of view, and I'm sort of going back to my days in radio a little bit, if you're promoting a concert, your promotional value after the concert is over is very limited unless you are using that concert that just happened to promote the next one.
But that's what I say we should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do well enough with that.
You know what was really helpful was, you know, with the intern, I think the previous intern, not this most previous, but with John, and then the other one who was just on, they were really able to focus on the post, you know, press releases and things because it had already happened and they sort of knew about it, where where in our office, we did a lot of the pre stuff. So now now that we don't really have anyone filling that role, we just need to be cognizant of it and reminding ourselves to market it afterwards. So
Yeah.
thanks, Brian.
Yeah, tangential to this discussion, Leslie, let's you and me and Renee get back on that right after the holiday and figure out what we're going to do for the second half of the year, because we can't go indefinite. What we've learned is that we need that intern, even for that 10 hours a week, because the things that John first and a little bit Mike before he took a powder provided may seem small, but I can tell you that stuff is not getting done as effectively without having that around.
Well, that's why we wanted them.
That is exactly why we wanted one. Okay, so I think we've got our high priorities. How about our mid-levels from this group?
Well, another big bang for the buck, not too involved, would be updating the welcome package.
Okay.
For new businesses. Because I'm already looking into, using the new logo and, to update our welcome letter, but put a little package together besides.
Okay, so are we calling that a high priority or the first and the mid-level priorities?
I'd say first and the mid-level.
Okay.
How
What else in that?
How about
Go ahead,
having
Charlie.
a tie-in between the new brochure, the map, and other issues like this? There's going to be panels on the back of that map where we can have information about each of these topics, the 11th village or the bicycling or any of these other topics. We'll each have enough of a space to get people started to research it, whether that's with a QR code or how it's done. Seems to be that way.
Okay. All right, what else do we see in that mid-level from this group that we've got here?
Regular schedule for updates to the EDC page on the website. We should get that in there.
Yeah.
To the next to the last one.
Yep, I see it. Pull down. What else is in that mid category? Anything, or are we just pushing everything else down?
You should say the guidebook for the Real Estate Agents Chamber of Commerce. That should be important consideration.
Okay. All right.
But that guidebook is part of the same idea that I'm trying to get across, that if on the back side of the map, there's a panel that says, you want to look to build affordable housing in Thompson, here's a guidebook. You want to build solar, here's a guidebook. You want to build this, those kinds of ideas that we're all talking about as what makes the character of this town worthwhile. Those where eye-catching display puts it into everybody's hands that wants a copy of it. That can be a lot of copies, but we're going to get half of them for the town itself.
Okay. What else we got? Do we have any other comments on these specific action items, or in other words, putting them in that mid-level? Or am I just prioritizing the rest of them into the bottom tier?
Well, it depends. If we're going to have any races and cycle events this year, I know everything's still up in the air, then that enhanced Thompson's appeal for trail racers would be
Okay.
mid-level. If everything's going to be pushed off to the following year, then it's not a big priority yet.
Well, remember, this is a 10-year cycle that we're on. So,
Yeah.
we've got important things that will happen fast. We've got important things that will happen slow. What I'm just asking for is their relative value, sort of regardless of time frame. Which things are, you know, do we want to start to work on first, whether we finish them first or not? I'm feeling like we've got this, and that I've got the 3 categories broken out. But if anybody has strong feelings, now is the time to share.
I'm good with how it is right now too. If everybody's
Okay. Move on to transportation. In this case, we're not really going to go over the action steps that well, because Dennis Blanchett and I really did go over them, and we modeled them on a pretty good matrix. But we'll have the opportunity here to call out anything anybody noticed within the text that needs edits, or any omissions or anything weird that anybody noticed. So any comments on the overview for transportation? Road safety audit recap. It's fairly straightforward, really. Additional intersections requiring attention.
Dara, which
Complete
ones you,
Streets. Yeah, go ahead.
you just said the intersections that you said would need some attention?
Mm-hmm.
You got the Blaine Road, Route 12 area, correct? Wasn't that done up with some type of overlook of how it would be reconstructed?
Yes, we did initiate something there. We have designs that were done by Provost and Rivero and submitted to CONDOT. Theoretically, the Blaine Road intersection is going to be one of DPW's first projects in 2021.
Okay.
But we are identifying a few things that we know are underway or ongoing, partly to give ourselves a win. So that 10 years from now, we can look back and go, oh, we really did do that. But also because it's not ongoing yet in some cases. We just anticipate them in short order.
Yeah. How about Blaine Road, Route 12? I mean, not Blaine Road, Buckley Hill Road, Route 12. Wasn't that put up into presented to as how that would be reconfigured? Because that is a death trap.
Yeah, we have this. This is the one from, I think, the UConn student presentation, and CME did some renderings for us, but that's all we have is concepts and renderings. We don't have actual engineering that's been done. So I would say that these have been explored in a very rudimentary fashion, but no actual planning has been done.
Okay, you should add one more to that. That needs to be explored, and that would be Route 12 Main Street.
It's on there, I think, isn't it?
No, I don't think.
It intersects twice. So the northern intersection is on there. Is that the one you mean? Or do you mean the southern intersection?
It would be the southern, what you can call it, the southern, where Main Street and Route 12, the route where the memorial is.
Yeah, that's this one. The northern terminus of Main Street with Route 12.
Okay.
That's that one.
Yeah, because.
Yeah, the southern entrance is by the railroad track and the town hall.
right.
Okay.
Did you have something else, John?
I'm just looking this thing over again. Route 12, West Side Drive. Okay, Route 12 to me is okay. No. All right, move it on there, young lady.
Moving on. So if there is a section that I think might need some additional work of some kind, it is this section on complete streets. I mean, we don't have an actual complete streets plan. I mean, it was pointed out, as I said, I sent this over to John Guskowski for comment, and he, you know, I included it because it gives an example of, you know, you can sort of describe the concepts of complete streets, but what are the things that you then, what are the kinds of action steps that get proposed? So this was a nice, convenient table. But as John pointed out, although I could tell you why this is here, create incentive for rain gardens, it isn't necessarily obvious to a casual viewer, you know, who isn't going to go digging in the weeds. So I guess my question is this table useful or a distraction? I mean, I think we should have all these things, but we do have this.
I think it's useful.
I don't think it's a distraction, and I think it's contextualized a little bit in the surrounding text, no?
Well, I did try to. I mean, if you feel it's contextualized enough, I mean, I'm going to still write my question mark next to it and look at it, but yeah, quite frankly, I like calling attention to that website because I think it's an interesting read for people who do think about these things. I think it provides a lot of thought prompts, but, you know, maybe it's extraneous. I don't know, but okay. So far we seem happy with it, so I'll leave it for the time being. Dennis, did I see you come on? I thought I did.
Yeah, Tara, I'm here. And I agree that it should be left in. It's a good sample from those documents and gives you an idea what you're talking about when you reference them. So I would leave it too.
Okay. Your commentary on this whole section, as usual, Dennis, is very valuable. Is there anything that feels awkward here that you think needs to be addressed? I think mostly in the complete streets section, but anywhere else really.
No, I still think it's all fine. I think you did a great job on this.
Okay.
I really have no suggested edits at this point.
I am so happy to hear that because I am definitely getting PoCD fatigue coming near the end of this process. So as I pointed out before Dennis came on, yeah, go ahead.
About text on page 21 of the of what you sent us here. It is in section, well, it's just below the table we just spoke about. It says, how much is a point of a walk score worth ? Demonstrates high correlation between walkability and rising. So I think you want to look at that editing in that block of text there. I don't know exactly which part you wanted to emphasize, but there's two mixed signals. See what I mean?
Can you clarify that, what you find confusing, Charlie, because I'm not following you.
I'm looking at the header is on the beginning of the page. It says planning for complete streets and policies. And at the bottom of that block of text on the left side coming in, it says points of walk score worth ? And then it says demonstrates, starting with a lowercase d, a high correlation between walkability and rising real estate values, which to me, the question mark is what throws the thing as an incomplete edit.
Well, that question mark goes with that. How much is a point of walk score worth is what she's referencing.
Yeah,
So
it's
maybe put it in quotes.
Yeah,
maybe I can
like
break this. Maybe I can break the sentence up in a way that makes it more clear.
But if you put it in quotes, it'll make it more clear too.
Yeah, either or. There's just something about that seems confusing to my.
Yeah, when you read it through the first time,
spell checker.
Read it through the first time, like Charlie said, you kind of have to go back and say what?
Sentence flow. Okay. I have that marked here then. Okay. Anything else on the text? The text. Alrighty. Jeff Bolte, you just came in, I saw. Do you have anything, did you have any comments on the transportation section before we move away from it, since you were one of the guys who worked on this?
Just, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. I wasn't sure. You know, just listening in. I was on my phone earlier, so, but yeah, now I can see everything. From what I can tell, everything looks pretty good. I like the painted crosswalks. You know, some other action steps in the in 9.5. I gotta listening into the roads, the intersections that need work. Was 131.12 on that?
Let's scroll up because I don't remember. I think it was,
Like
but
the intersection by
It was, but it doesn't
no, it was
say
not.
131. It says Buckley Hill at the junction of Route 12.
right, but
yeah, but I think he's talking about the actual
Oh, yeah,
131.
he's talking about the other one.
yeah, because you figure living over there, we see a lot. So, like just the way that intersection's set up, you figured between the split from 12 to stay on 12 from 12, a lot of people like to take that right and then take a left onto 12 instead of taking the right onto 131. So I almost feel like there needs to be some sort of, you know, at least a look at it to see if there's a better way to clear that up. You know, whether making, you know, the turn to 131 a right turn only instead of allowing people to go back down to 12, or, you know, I don't know if we want to add that in or not, but you figure it is state roads, so it's, you know.
I think
Yeah, it's two state roads. It should be reviewed.
it has been reviewed, sorry, but it's been looked at many years ago. And the reason it was looked at is because of the way it's constructed. Is somebody, when you come on Route 12 and you have to stop to continue on Route 12 where 131 comes right into it, there has been some real serious accidents back in the day.
Yep.
So what the whole thought behind it was, is you just said it, was to get everybody to bear right, so you can go right or left on 131. That will put you in the only way you can come up and stay on 12. It would be going north, coming out of Main Street, but you wouldn't be able to go south on 12. You would have to take the right, because now you got a clear view, you know, sight line right and left.
Right.
You know what I mean? That looked at, if I remember correctly, back in the day, and I remember my dad who worked for the state, and they were looking at it back then, and that was 25, 30 years ago or so.
Well,
So
you know,
that has never came into fruition. That should be really one of the.
If it's 25 years ago, it should be just about ready for decision.
Right.
Yeah. No, some back points. You know what I mean? From you know, I remember because like I said, my dad worked on the highway, and I remember him plowing through Route 12 back around, you know, when they gave you the routes to give.
Yeah.
And that was one of I remember some serious accidents there, you know, people trying to cut straight, you know, stop, and then, you know, try to look over your right shoulder, see if somebody's coming over by, you know, up 131 to get, you know, to move right in, because that they don't have to stop.
Right.
And there was some serious accidents, and that was really looked into, but it never, I don't know how far it went, probably went 10 steps and it stopped, but.
Yeah. Well, even putting a stop sign on the 131 side.
It went to the first dollar sign.
Right, I don't like that.
No, the best way to do it is have them go right and then go left. Instead of you're eliminating two stops really, but you make one, and you got a better sight line either way.
I agree.
Well, we're certainly not going to solve the specific problem here, but I can take that into the text as something to add as an intersection needing attention. And judging from the fact that we're now talking about it in some specific detail, it seems worthy of inclusion. So I'll do that.
That would help. That would help the district, you know, the main artery district, whatever how you want to call it now. But those would make it much more, you know, and letting people come in and saying, geez, well, this ain't a bad way to go, going back the old ways, before 395, which used to be Route 52,
Well, it's probably an easier one to do now, John.
Yes, it would be.
It's been a move to get away from those look over your shoulder
Yes.
maps, where there wasn't a move for it 25 years ago.
Right. Yeah. But it's, we have 5 interchanges in this town, in the main corridor, the central corridor, that do really need to be really looked at. I'm not saying they have to be all done at once, but take the priority ones, where you feel we would have the most, well, if we're gonna have more traffic, those would be the ones you would correct first.
Yeah.
All right, so in terms of the action steps, who is that?
This is Kais. Tier, can we, anything on the bridges getting fixed, especially the one that's out for oversized loads?
I'll be honest, Kais, I don't have that information. I know they are being looked at, but I haven't been a part of the conversations with Rich and the selectman's office.
They have a bridge. They have a bridge that they're working on East Providence Road, which I think is a higher priority. It's a higher traffic road, and it's restricted down traffic. That one came before Wetlands Commission because they have to.
Think they're ever going to do the one? Is that Buck?
You're thinking Buckley Hill.
Is that Buckley Hill?
They've got them in priority, but I don't seem to be able to get a report from Department of Public Works as to which ones they're working on when.
Okay. No, not a problem. I just figured I'd ask. We have animals on the other side of Thompson, so taking feed or delivering animals, we have to go the long way versus going the short way.
They're putting in a new bridge on East Thompson Road, just to the west of the fire hall.
That's where they're working now?
That's where the next one's going in.
Oh, okay.
So in terms of the list of action steps here, I'm just going to hold this up as a model because Dennis worked up a great matrix for me, which I've carried in. So this is actually, I don't think we need any work here. I just want to demonstrate that this is what I'm going to try to carry into all of the sections, short term, years 1 through 3. I'm actually going to add a 4th category, which is ongoing or less than a year. Which doesn't apply to anything here, but in the other sections. So this is exactly what I want to try to replicate at the end of each section and then make into a master matrix at the end of the whole document. So that's just for reference, really. Unless there is something you want to add, Dennis, that we might have missed. I think we're probably pretty thorough here.
I agree. I think it covered all the bases.
Yeah. Okay, Kai's is up. Agriculture. So we'll go through again, same thing, quickly through each subtopic within the topic for anything that stood out as being incorrect, needs clarification or edits. Again, not adding any new concepts because the hourglass has run out on that, but we want to make sure that what we are saying is correct. Overview.
I thought it looked over pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know. If
I'm pretty happy with this. It was kind of an agriculture A team that worked on it. You and me, Carolyn and Judy.
Right.
So I am generally pretty happy, but we'll still go through section by section in case anybody else saw anything that they want to call out. Inventory of agricultural assets, which is mostly factual. I think we're pretty set there. Don't worry about the formatting here. It opens up strangely on my desktop because I have different parameters, a different version of Word. The farm-friendly community, it's really just quoting the ordinances. A little bit about community priorities. checklisting. Challenges faced by farmers in Thompson. Kaz, I worked this over after you and I spoke, but if there's
Yep.
anything else in here you want, you think got left out, by all means.
No, I thought it looked pretty good, I think.
Agriculture Commission, roles, responsibilities, advocacy. There was a commission meeting recently, wasn't there, Kaz?
It was, they were locked out of the building, the town hall.
Oh,
So
that's too
they
bad.
had a quick meeting outside. I was 10 minutes away and they told me I didn't need to go. Because they were
Okay, so I'm
locked
guessing
out.
that they didn't discuss this.
No, they didn't.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay. So, and you've seen this already too.
Yep.
All right, so here's the meat of it again. So suggested action steps, same thing here. Let's pick out the highs, the mediums, and the lows for prioritization that I can matrix later. And again, this I'm gonna lean heavily on you here, Kais.
Yep.
But I'll read them out first, especially for everybody who hasn't seen them yet. Develop a local farm-to-school distribution program from area farms to the public and private schools in Thompson to put local whole food products into their cafeterias, shortening the institutional food chain while building wealth for local producers. Develop policies to address food waste and recovery. Such policies should incorporate the diversion of commercial and institutional food waste to the anaerobic biodigester located at Fort Hill Farms. Recommended partners are the public school systems, Marianapolis Preparatory Academy, Superior Bakery, Lord Thompson Manor Banquet Facility, and all our area restaurants. Develop and support marketing infrastructure for local farmers. A farmer's market for Thompson would be an incremental step in developing such infrastructure. A centrally located brick and mortar food hub to which local growers could deliver produce would similarly increase the access to locally grown foods for the community. The planned Ag Business Incubator for 65 Main is another example of supportive infrastructure for farm entrepreneurs. Start a buy local campaign to be coordinated between the Agricultural Commission, Economic Development Commission, and Thompson Business Association. Develop promotional materials for local growers and producers. Enhance the webpage for the Agricultural Commission on the town website, linking to local farms, websites, or social media. Create online or print maps to area farms. Develop a program to assist farm businesses in using online resources as another joint project by the Agriculture Commission, Economic Development Commission, and Thompson Business Association. Keep abreast of updates to state enabling legislation or language to further support agricultural business within Thompson. Planning and zoning to conduct annual reviews of the zoning regulations to assess whether the existing regulatory language is sufficiently adapted to the needs of local agricultural businesses. Organize and conduct annual farm tours to be publicized both within the community and to wider audiences for agritourism events. And continue the development of well, that's a terrible sentence. I'll fix the sentence. Aimed at agricultural and food system startups through the Office of Planning and Development. All right, Kais, which of these are at the top of your wish list? I'm guessing I know one right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'll just go down the list. Develop a local farm to school distribution program is one of them. Develop policies to address food waste and recovery is another one.
Yep.
And develop and support marketing infrastructure for local farms is my top ones, I'd say.
Those are your top three? Okay. How about your mid-levels here?
The buy local campaign would be another one. Where was it? The planning and zoning, no, not that one. The Ag Commission, the develop a program to assist farm businesses in using online resources. And promotional materials for local growers and producers.
So these look like they're actually already pretty well ordered for you.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. I love that. That's less work for me.
Yes, I try.
Yay.
Just one small thing. I'm professionally obligated to point out that it's Marianapolis Preparatory School, not Academy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I want you to mention all of my terrible typos. School.
When did they change that?
I don't. As long as I don't know. It's been school for a long time.
All I
Hey,
know is
my linguistically oriented friend, is there a semantic difference between an academy and a school?
I would say so. Well, as far as the sign on the school.
No, there's definitely a difference in the name. I'm just curious if there is an actual definition difference.
I think there is. I'm not familiar with what it is.
Academy is probably a step above, just like Woodstock Academy. They don't call it Woodstock School, you know. So I'm sure there's a benefit somehow to the word academy.
Oh well, now them's fighting words.
Yeah.
You're gonna get right on that, Joe Perotti?
Yeah.
No,
Put
we'll
that
just keep calling it
doctorate in-
Academy.
Doctorate in language studies to use.
well,
All
it's
right.
like now it's Putnam Science.
Recreation and trails. And I believe we have a number of recreation and trails representatives here this evening.
I have some.
Although nobody should feel limited here, by the way, guys. I'm just calling on these folks for particular help. Who was just talking?
Oh, it's Leslie. I did get the dates today from Renee just to fill in on that background section. So I worked with the commission on this, and they wanted to really just highlight, specifically in the background section, the growth of the department and, you know, when the commission was formed and the growth of going from a part-time to full-time director and adding on various programs. So Renee helped kind of walk that through. And so I'll get those to you and have those updated.
Okay, so you don't have them in front of you. All right, because I could write them in here and then.
I don't have them in front of me now. They're in my email.
All right, we'll do it tomorrow. But this is otherwise what the commission provided back, so I think we have to assume that that is correct. Recreational assets. Anybody have anything else here? Are you the only person from Rec on, Leslie? Is that right?
Yeah.
You want to know the difference between academy and a school? I just Googled it.
Yes, please. We're all dying to know, actually.
Academies have more freedom than other state schools, which doesn't apply in Marianapolis' case, over their finances, the curriculum, and the teachers' pay and condition. The key difference is that they are funded directly by central government instead of receiving their funds via a local authority. That's one of the things that Google says. There's more, but let's get on with what we're doing.
Here, can you make a note? Can you just make a note in that second paragraph to add the Thompson Public School and the list of collaborators?
In the second paragraph, Thompson Public Schools. Okay.
Just above the logo.
Yep.
Thanks.
Scribbling it in right now. So we agreed, Leslie, that we're going to leave this table that I plucked off the website and not replace it with a map, correct?
I like it. I think it's, yeah, I like it. I'd rather have it listing off what's at each site rather than the location of it. I think it's, yeah.
Okay. All right. And again, don't fret about the formatting. I'll fix it at the office. Aquatic State Park.
Just so folks know, what we did here in that section with the maps is that we had West Thompson Lake and the Airline Trail, State Park and Aquatic all listed, and the Rec Commission wanted to just have Aquatic because that's really what pertains to the Rec Department with running summer camp at that location, and we thought it would be better for the airline trail and West Thompson Lake to be moved to the trails section.
Which I did do, and you'll see that come up as we scroll down. I did move those. Although I referenced them here.
Yeah, but I don't understand that map. I don't understand. It says the Airline Trail State Park, but what is that? That looks like,
No, this map, Charlie, goes with this heading. It's the formatting is screwed up because of the transfer from my work desktop to this desktop. This statement
Man, I
just
hate it when
refers
that
to the Airline Trail State Park and Little Pond and West Thompson Lake, and says they will be described more fully under the topic of trails. So that's just acknowledging that they exist, and then later we're going to see them. So yeah,
Okay.
this is just, this looks weird because of the carryover to a different desktop. Okay, private recreation opportunities. I did make that addition up here that you asked me to, Leslie. Anything else that we wanted to talk about in terms of recreation department challenges? I think you also gave me edits here.
Yeah, we kind of just broke it down into four main categories: facility, finances, cooperative responsibility, and long-standing maintenance, which I guess could also be qualified under facilities, but yeah.
Recreation department goals. I assume that your commission also looked at these before you sent me what your edits were the other day, right? Yeah, okay, so I feel like we're pretty good here. I don't know why this keeps happening, but that's fine. Okay, so now we're into trails. Okay, anybody from trails have anything they want to call out in any of this? I also feel like we got a lot of good content back from you guys before, so.
Yeah, this is Karen. I have one thing as I was reading through. There's still a section in there about the boat launch on town land over in Wilsonville. That's got to come out now because it's not town land anymore.
Correct.
Well, there is still a piece of town land. It's not the same piece of town land.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure about that.
Okay. Let me find it and then make sure I'm not referring to the wrong one.
You're talking about 1395 Riverside Drive.
Right.
Yeah, there's a piece right behind there that the town owned, and they were going to incorporate 1395 with that. That's what the whole plan was, to incorporate that together so you would have the boat launch and the parking area and everything. But now the property got sold, that little piece but that's behind 1405, right there in the corner.
Right.
Yeah, there is also there's a town-owned parcel at what is called 0 Wilsonville Road, because there's no building on it, which is still town-owned and is still adjacent to the mill and might have not the same potential, but some potential.
I think the one you're talking about, that's the one on the opposite side of the river, along the railroad tracks. It's like 12 acres. That's on the opposite side of where 1395 and 1405 is.
Here it is.
That's why it was being looked at to negotiate with those people, is to see what we could get what was going to be done, to do some swapping off or whatever, if it could have been negotiated, but it was decided to have the property put up for sale. So we just have if you could really look at the map, there is maybe it's very minute, and it's still there. We still own the town, not we. When I say we, I mean by the town. We still have access of that, as you want to call it, what was being called the boat launch.
Yeah.
I'm not clear which side of the road is still town land, because years ago we looked at the track side, and that's too dangerous to have a boat launch, and no parking without being near the rail line, too close.
Right.
But that's the side.
Okay, so that's information I didn't have, Karen. So that might let me make a note there, because
if you were standing on the bridge and looking down the river, the French River, or if you want to call it, the boat ramp would have been on the right-hand side behind 1405, of the parking lot and everything, where the guy had his trailer trucks, had the business
Right.
on the right side, down in the corner. It's very minute. And that's why 1395 was taken in by taxes, and Paul Linke had a thing done by Yukon there or whatever, the kids, to look at that and try to incorporate that together to make it all uniform. But we had that little hiccup of the people that owned that 1405. Now it's the new people, but the original past two owners were going to work something out so we could make it a complete one piece. So you could be parked up there up on 1395 property, and you could walk down with your boat or whatever you want to do, kayaks, and that would have been the ramp for you to go down go behind KFC and all the way down. If you wanted to float and go over that dam and go all the way down to Belden Corticello, you could have.
Yeah, but it's a dead issue now, right? Because the land is sold.
Okay. But
apparently the Board of Selectmen sold that piece of property or did a transaction with the people that are redeveloping the Wilsonville Mill.
No. Wilsonville people are out of it, of the mill. It's the people next door that wanted the property because they were using it to get to their property in the back, to their barn. So they put a bid in for it when it went out for bid.
Right.
Put up for
the long story short on that whole story is that we lost an opportunity to negotiate something that would have been beneficial to everybody, but that moment has now passed. So our option, if there is an option, and there may not be an option, but just from a purely ownership standpoint, the remaining option is the 12.24 acre parcel at 0 Wilsonville Road.
Correct. That you have to go down. If you could if we could acquire some of the property that's along the river, between the river and the tracks, 1405 owns a stretch. And if you could get a hold of that, that would help the 12 acres down on the left side where you could make it into, with the boat launcher or put a beach down there for whatever reason you want to do. There's a possibility, but
All right. Well, Tara, if you want to put something in here that's much more vague, because I remember going out with Larry Groh, we did a site walk, and it looked like the parking was too close to the tracks and that we couldn't use that side, but we can look at it again.
Okay. Yeah, I'll monkey around with this little paragraph too, then, to see if
we can look at that again. I was there with Karen and Larry Groh when we did that. Question: we want to see what's happening with the ownership and the repair of the dam at Grosvenordale, North Grosvenordale, because anything that's done with any kind of boat launch or canoe work all precipitates or all flows from that. I don't know what's going to happen. It needs to be repaired.
Which one you're talking about? The one behind the KFC or the one off of Wilsonville Road?
Yep, the one behind
the KFC.
Well, it's not KFC anymore, but it has been for so long that it will be for the next 90 years.
Right.
That dam is leaking. That dam is owned by an LLC, and it is in need of repair. And that's come up at a couple of meetings that I've been at.
But that's
I don't know.
Ability.
It's been brought to the attention of the Board of Selectmen and Inland Wetlands as well.
Charlie, it's definitely on Amy's radar. I did a walkthrough with her and Rich of some parks about a month back, and it's definitely, active, in resolving that. So it's definitely on Amy's radar.
Okay, Karen, we jumped way ahead into the section, which is fine because this is mostly stuff that that you had given back to me. Was there anything else that you noticed in the text?
No, everything else looked fine, unless unless some of the other trails people saw something where I sent it just a couple days ago again, but otherwise it looked okay.
Okay. All right, so let's skip down to suggested action steps, and this is recreation and trails more or less together because it is one unified section. The same thing here. Let's identify our highs, mediums, and lows for prioritization. Let me find my
Top
page here.
priority is the airline trail between Lowell Davis Road and Sandam Road. That's the worst section of the airline trail that there is right now. I believe that Richard Benoit saved the road milling blacktop that they used when they repaired the road up at Porter Plain. And that would make very nice substitute for stone dust. But I don't know what his schedule is.
So you're asking me, Charlie, to add as an action step, application of stone dust to the trail, to the ALSPT between Sandam and Lowell Davis?
Correct.
Okay. How often is that generally done? Is that a one-time application? Is it done every 5 years? Is it done?
Nope. I would say a one-time application, but it may need to be graded and rolled out again. As long as there's dirt bikes that'll be using it and an ATV spinning around in circles, it will be destroyed. But
Kira, are these rec and trails combined, or what is it?
They're meant to be, although I may not have pulled everything from yours into here, Leslie.
I'd like to keep them separate. I like to keep them. I think the commission would agree with that. You know, we're separate commissions, we're separate departments. You know, I'd really like to keep them separate.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's look at these since we're having in front, and then we'll go back to the recreation ones. And we'll also mark the ones that are specific to recreation. And these might be more trails because I think I actually did not, I'm looking at these actually look like more trails to me.
Yeah.
So they might be de facto separate anyway. Okay, so just gonna read them all out and then we'll high, medium, low them. Partner with the Connecticut Trail Census to observe trends in trail use and plan future projects accordingly. Seek grant funding for trails equipment and programming enhancements. Of particular interest is the Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP grant.
Put that near the top.
Okay. Seek grant funding for Recreation Department facility repairs and construction.
You can take that off of my section.
Yeah, that move. Establish an annual review of trail maintenance needs with the Department of Public Works.
Put that one in the short term.
Establish an annual calendar of volunteer work days. Establish a plan for volunteer recruitment and succession. Create a 10-year plan for recreation pro. That's a move too. All right, move. Pursue additional connections between existing trails, both those in Thompson and those in neighboring towns, i.e. Airline Trail into Putnam, Quinnebog Valley Bike Trail, Aquatic Red Trail to LeClaire, Wilsonville Boat Launch.
Well, those are ongoing, so short term, I guess.
Okay. Pursue acquisitions of new trail corridors and connectors.
Medium.
Medium, okay. Construct additional access points to the airline trail, e.g. at Plum Road, although I'm going to take that e.g. off because that's actually a slightly separate issue.
Well, if it's a separate issue, then it's I mean, that's the one we're looking at. So that would be the short-term one. I don't know of any long-term ones, you know, medium access points. So that's not high up on the list then.
No, there really
Well, the
only
Plum
be
Road, the Plum
two
Road
or
one is the
three.
one that involves the Merrick's property, right?
I know
So-
that one
Right.
would be high up, but if you're going to take that off as a
Well,
example.
I feel like I want to rephrase that instead of
Okay.
construct additional access points. So so we can make it high priority, but I'll,
Or pinpoint
adjust it.
additional access points or research additional access points and put it up in short term.
okay,
Yeah, identify.
Identify.
okay. I think I can work with that anyway. Improve, improve parking at trail access points.
Put that up at short term.
Okay. Add trail signage and amenities such as benches. Develop partnerships throughout the trail community to help develop, promote, and enhance the trail recreation experience.
Well, some of these are ongoing. They're not short or long term.
Well, so don't think of them in their time frame. Think of them about how important they are, because some things might not be all that important, but we can still get them done quickly. And when I make that matrix, I'm going to separate them out into the 4 timelines: stuff for less than a year, stuff that's 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5+ years. But within those time frames, there will be high, medium, and lows as well. So I would say just think about its importance more than its.
Well, if you say develop new partnerships, you can make it low because we've got our partnerships.
Okay.
Well, unless something new comes along, but it's ongoing because it is important.
Right.
Yep. Okay. I can work with that. Support the development of trails and events for mountain biking and recreational bike use routes in the town. Support cyclocross and gravel grinder competitions, Tri-State, Hartford Marathon, and other similar long-distance events which use the airline or other trails in Thompson.
John, I just want to check, Charlie, that we have the correct names of these things. We've never discussed any gravel grinder anything, so I don't know what that is.
Well, actually, the Natchog Epic is described as a gravel grinder on their website.
Okay.
And cyclocross is a term that they use as well.
Couldn't we put something a little more general in like becoming an epicenter for? Oh, I guess you have that in the one above it with events for mountain biking and bike use already. So I guess you're saying like maybe just support existing local bike competitions. You don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, the difference in those 2 items to me is one is just people who are casual users and the other are organized events.
That's why I kind of stopped myself, because one is, like you said, casual, but I guess, you know.
And what about virtual, the people who are, I mean, I don't have it, that the new exercise equipment that you're looking at the trail that you're out running on, you know, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's long term.
Well, okay, that's long term, but wait a minute. Yes, it's long term, but it's also ongoing. So yeah, it'll be a while until we see the finished project, but
we haven't even discussed it.
That's so last week. Okay.
Okay, moving on. Maintain up-to-date mapping and media links to related organizations.
That's pretty important right now.
Okay. Actively share agendas and invite partnership with the Recreation Commission, Conservation Commission, Inland Wetlands Commission, and other relevant municipal boards, commissions, committees. I mean, this is ongoing. I know you actually do share your agendas. You're one of the only ones who regularly does, Karen. We'll just include that as something we can say we've definitely accomplished. So again, what stands out? I mean, I think you've identified your highs. What about your sort of mid-level?
Well, our highs are finishing the train wreck park. is not on this as
Oh yeah,
specific.
that didn't even end up in here. Good Lord. Because it's so many other places. Train, rec, park, underscore, underline, stars and garters. Okay, yeah, I'll add that. Anything else missing here? Or that you want to specifically call out as a high, mid-level, or lowest tier priority?
No, I think we
Okay.
covered it.
All right, so let's go back to recreation because we kind of blew past it because I had them in my head together at the end. So we're going to change goals to action steps in this to make it consistent. I'm going back to my written pages here. Okay, so Leslie's back up. Highlight recreation as a growing lifestyle enhancement that attracts young families to town and serves as an asset for economic growth.
I think that's an ongoing
Yeah.
or
Ongoing. Recreation department must take a leading role in all town-sponsored recreational efforts. Other departments and organizations should partner with recreation when planning public events, e.g. utilizing the rec department email database to reach potential audiences. Coordinate a calendar of events with key town leaders and organizations to maximize potential and cross-promote.
That's a top.
Okay.
I think that's a top, and then maximize the use of the online registration system and capabilities is a top.
Yep. Preserve green, that's sort of a general, preserve green space and be a leading partner in environmental advocacy. EDC and REC join with TBA to develop cooperative partnerships to market and promote these assets.
I mean, it's not going, but at the top, you know,
recreation assets. So ongoing.
And then I would say
The
Larry, last one, to conduct a yearly walkthrough of public recreation facilities and establish calendar of park maintenance is the top.
Okay, how about your mids from these?
All the rest of them.
And the ones from trails that you moved.
And the ones from trails.
Yeah, in fact, I'm making my note right here. Cut, paste.
Will you add something that's not in there? I guess it's kind of in trails is in the Bull Hill area, but it should also be listed. The trails one about Bull Hill should also be listed in the rec department. So I guess the development of Bull Hill as a recreation site, that's just been something that's been coming up multiple times with the Board of Selectmen, with the rec department. So it really should be.
You mean the Bull Hill soccer field area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in the section 4 because it talks about the drainage problems there. So I'll pluck that or copy it over as well from 4.2.
Right. So we talk about it being a challenge, but it's not set as a goal or a were you relabeling? Actually, sorry.
Reiterate and emphasize.
Now, are you done writing? I have something else.
Yep.
Back under DPW, do we have anything that then relates back to ongoing maintenance with recreation and trails?
Yes.
Back up there in their section.
Yes, back in section 4.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Good catch, Karen. Yeah, you just want to make sure we're crossing it.
Our goal.
Yeah,
but
and
not
Leslie, if you
not
want
there.
to look at that again tomorrow while we're at the office, just to make sure that that's. But I think that that's actually pretty well covered.
Okay. Yeah, I can take a look at it.
Okay. All right, last section for tonight, and then you're all free as birdies. Free as birdies. I can go down and start addressing envelopes full of records. Yay. Last section for tonight, conservation and open space. Carolyn could not join us this evening. She sent me a couple of little edits, which I already made. So again, this is just for us to call out anything that anybody else has noticed, anything in the overview. Inventory of dedicated open space. An inventory is an inventory. Commitment to conservation. Anybody see anything that needed to be further fleshed out? Call them out.
Go about yet. Not yet. It'll wait.
I assume you're talking to Ally and not to us, Cindy?
Yes, I am.
I knew that. Challenges to conservation. Anybody read this and have anything they wanted to comment? Conservation Commission, it's only a paragraph. Okay, again, here in the suggested action steps, this might be a little challenging without Carolyn or Judy here, but let's see what we think as people a little bit on the outside of it. Okay, and these will be the last group that I read off, and we'll just do a quick high, medium, low. Determine the ideal relationship of Thompson's open space to its developed land based on the best available data, adjusting land use regulations and acquisition strategies accordingly. Prioritize particularly threatened land cover types or known sensitive wildlife habitats. I should probably move this text further up. Increase the percentage of permanently protected parcels in Thompson to conform to identified priorities. Pursue grant funding to enable acquisition of identified parcels for protection. Encourage homeowners and businesses to adopt downcast lighting. Cultivate strong relationships with conservation and stewardship organizations such as TLGV, yada, yada. Develop engaging educational programs for local residents to encourage better practices at home. Organize regular volunteer workdays to control invasive plant species. Of these, which would we say are the top three if you are thinking about this from a conservation point of view? Dennis, are you still on here? Did we lose him? I think we lost Dennis. Come on, guys, help me out.
I would think the
Don't
first
leave
one
it.
is, as a plan of conservation and development. I think the first one would be, for me, sort of the most important.
Okay. What else do you guys see here? What keeps drawing your eye back?
Increasing permanently protected areas.
Yeah.
Anything else seem very strong as a high priority here?
The signs, the lighted signs, downcast lighting is.
Okay.
Good old ZEO.
All right, let's just identify a couple of sort of the mid-levels. I actually kind of think this invasive plant species thing rises to a mid-level, certainly not bottom tier.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would put the threatened land cover types or sensitive wildlife habitats with it.
I feel pretty happy with this then. And I'm sure you guys are all dying to get off this call. Okay.
Did you get,
Yep.
you probably didn't, did you guys cover the raceway before I joined?
Cover the raceway in what way, Kai?
There was some, I read it and I had emailed you some revisions or some wording.
I'm not sure that I know that I got whatever you sent me prior
Okay.
to working on the agriculture section, Kais, but I'm not recalling that. Can
Okay.
you remind me? So
Yep.
because that might.
I saw it. It just came today.
Yeah, it did. It did. I had just emailed it while we were on the call.
Oh, okay. So that's why I haven't seen it.
Right, right. No, I just wanted to make sure that you got it. And if you had already covered the raceway, well, before I jumped on the call, I was assuming.
Okay. So road racing history. All right. So you're asking me to put that in with the local history section, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that. I
If
see
you
it
don't
now that I
mind.
see it.
Okay.
I do not
sorry about
mind,
that.
not a bit.
Okay, great.
No, I was just confused because I hadn't seen it yet.
Okay.
Okay,
No, sorry about that.
No problem. So I'm going to stop my screen share. See you all still there on my list. Okay. Anybody have anything else for tonight before we wrap it? I think we're pretty good, but I'm always willing to listen to more.
Do we have another meeting scheduled or we don't know?
One more next week. I'm going to send out a doodle poll tomorrow, and it's the last 5 sections, 13 through 17. They are the ones that are the least complete because they were the ones that got worked on the most recently. Those sections are water resources, education, library services, renewable energy, and future land use. Obviously, next week is Christmas week, which means it's going to be it's either going to be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It is obviously not going to be Thursday. I would probably prefer to do it on Tuesday again, but I will go with whatever the majority chooses in the doodle poll one more time. And I will have the complete excerpt and updated draft out this Friday as I have all along. And then I'm going to put the final draft together and send it over to P&Z for their approval on the 28th of December. And that's how this story will end.
Good
All right,
job.
guys, good work. Yeah, go ahead.
Keep everyone this week.
Yeah, good job, everyone.
Thank you,
All
Tara.
right, talk to you all soon.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.